Sure. All right, so episode 17, we've had a couple of people down with some necrotic damage. It's pretty bad.
I don't think they can see peace signs.
They can't really see peace signs.
Yeah.
This is an audio only sort of thing. So, but everybody's back and marginally in good health, as healthy as a D&D player can be, I suppose. But yeah, so we're back for episode 17, starting season 2 of this story thus far. So, real quick, we are just going to give you the Instagram information as well as the email information. I think we're just going to jump right into it. So,
the Instagram is @_storythusfar.
And the email is storythusfar@yahoo.com.
Were you just looking at your phone because you didn't remember the Instagram?
I'm texting my mom.
Oh, okay, all right. Fair enough. Okay, yeah. So I think we're ready to get right into it, right?
Yes.
Right. The story thus far. Episode 17. The story thus far is this: Barag, Terra, Daedalus, and Talvis. The four of you have successfully staved off the rebirth of a god of chaos and destruction on the material plane, Talos, the Threefold King. However, many sacrifices were made along the way. As the threat has now passed and relative stability has once again been established on the east coast of the continent of Faerun, the four of you find yourselves about to embark on a journey that will lead you to the port city of Baldur's Gate, the largest port city on the continent of Faerun. As you pack up the last of your gear, your trophies, your provisions, before leaving the Lorwick Dales, Barag, Daedalus, Talvis, and Terra, also known as Valor's Ransom, what would you like to do? I still mess up your guys' name.
That's okay.
Ransom is Valor. Valor's Ransom. They're completely interchangeable. What would you guys like to do?
So we're already heading out, or
You are in the Lorwick Dales, so
Okay.
this will be a good opportunity to pick up any sort of taxidermy you may have hired somebody to do for you, or say goodbyes, check up on people, whatever it is that you guys want to do. I'm just the
Okay.
DM, guys.
The gentleman that I spoke to about crafting my holy symbol,
Yes.
he's staying there as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to leave that with him, I would have to recross the continent to pick up my product.
Yeah, no big whoop.
Seems inadvisable. Okay.
Andor.
Yes.
Andor's name is.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Adnor.
Yeah. Okay. And is this compared to when we left off last time, is this a new day?
It's a couple of weeks have passed since the ceremony.
Okay.
Since the burial of Denny Truthbrow.
Okay.
A couple of weeks have passed. Your brother Danzin continues his training with Rory. Rory seems a little more withdrawn. Really, the only time he comes out at all is really your brother. His parents have already left back to the Sword Coast. But he is going on a journey to, and you already know this from the last game. He's going to the Hinfist Temple, just south in the Sword Coast, to kind of find his center again. As he tells it to you, his key is in flux, so he needs to get right. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna head towards where my brother Danzin is
Okay. Yeah, the whole family is actually set up in their own kind of temporary housing.
Okay.
It's literally, some stud work, some woodwork, flat sheets of wood, but very minimal. But just in the week since Denny's burial, um, the progress that has been made with the help of the Ashburn mooring, and all the shipwrights that had come and all the people who'd come to help, just in that week's time, it's like night and day. Structures are going up very fast. People seem much happier. Hope. You hear laughter quite a bit. It's something that you guys really haven't heard in quite some time. Just people living life. It's a little unusual to an adventurer.
Pretty nice, then, so to speak. Is the mayor from the Ashburn Mooring still there, or did she head back already?
Oh, she's there.
Okay.
She's there. Pem Shim is there.
Okay.
She is, since there is no established leadership in the Lorwick Dales, she's kind of been looked on as, someone to help guide the city. The city of the Lorwick Dales is much larger than the Ashburn Moorings. However, the Ashburn Moorings has a lot more in regards to, because it's a port on the East Coast.
Right.
So she's used to kind of having a lot of moving parts that she has to kind of navigate. But you do also know that, Thupneem, she is there as well, but she's more of people look to her for motherly advice, spiritual guidance. She is very devout to Hestia. So she doesn't really take that kind of role of, leading a city. She looks to lead people, but in a different way, in a more maternal way.
Okay.
But they're kind of like co-managing all of this. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna head to actually my parents. Are they kind of in the same direction as where Danson and Rory are? Or
Well, your whole family. Well, make an investigation roll.
Uh-huh.
Modify 20.
Modify 20. Okay, easy enough. You can hear them at a very elevated volume, and one of your brothers is getting a talking to from mom, and it's not a pleasant talk, whatever it is.
Whenever a mom talks and
Yeah.
it's in that tone,
Right.
it's just best to kind of walk away.
Right.
But I guess I'll go into
She's not too far removed from the chancla being thrown out. The halfling chancla.
Oh no.
Chancla.
Yeah.
Run.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna head towards that direction.
Okay. Are you kind of like shuffling pretty quickly, or?
Yeah.
You guys all have your own kind of homes, not homes, but temporary shelters. Yeah. But
yeah, I would say that I'm kind of getting there at a quick pace.
Sure. As you head over there, you do catch a glimpse of Rory, who is on one of the houses that is more finished than the rest. It has like a solid roof and a foundation, and you just see him like right on the peak of the roof, facing the sun, just kind of sitting, very, very still.
Okay.
But as you approach closer, you do hear your brother Danzin getting yelled at, and you hear your brother, "Mom, calm down, please. It's not that big of a deal. Terra did it, and she's fine." And she's like, "No, not another one. Not another one. I swear to Hestia." And you just hear general calamity in the house.
Okay. So I'm gonna head in to the halfling homestead.
Sure.
And sorry, there's not going to be an accent today. I apologize. But I'm gonna kind of like just look at the entirety of this mess and what's going on here.
So your brother Danzin obviously has no sight. So for a second she's like, look at me and then she kind of catches herself and she's kind of puts her hand to her mouth like very quickly, like she realizes what she just said. She goes, I'll not hear another word of this. Your brother wants to go on some expedition somewhere. And he's like, Mom, it's not an expedition. I need to learn these things. And your father is there and he's at the table and he's just, you see the look on his face. You've seen it a million times. He's just trying to stay alive. He is trying to be as quiet as possible. If he was a chameleon, you have a pretty good idea that he'd probably be camouflaged into a wall or something. But he has not said a peep. And it doesn't look like he's going to anytime soon.
Smart dad.
Your brother, however, Davrick, is the one who's kind of like more vocal with your mother. Not in a mean way, but, you know, trying to reason with her. And, you know, Davrick is like, but Danzin needs this, Mom. And she sees you come through the door. Terra, come here, child.
And so I'm going to kind of go up to her, but like kind of like shuffle and I'm not in trouble.
When she says that, she wasn't asking. She was telling you, come here, child. So you kind of slowly make your way to your mother in a very defensive posture. And she puts her hand on your shoulder and she goes, your brother is breaking my heart right now.
Well, what exactly did he do?
He wants to go with Rory to the Hinfist Temple.
So I'm going to raise my hands and go, oh, that's brilliant. And start.
Why is that brilliant?
Well,
you left and you came back cursing and you kill people. I mean, you kill bad people, but you still kill people. And so you hear Danton say, Mom, I'm not training to kill people. I'm training so that I don't get killed. There's a difference.
I second that notion.
So she kind of like looks at you very, very quickly. And all the color in your body and your face just kind of like drains all at once the second that you've seen that look before.
I'm going to kind of look on the floor to make sure there's no slippers or anything.
There's only one on the floor.
Oh,
no! The other one, you have no idea where it is.
So I'm going to kind of like start to step back and closer to Danson.
Sure.
And, Mom, I understand. I know what you're thinking right now, but...
She goes, don't try to hide behind the blind boy. And then your brother says, Mom, I'm blind, I'm not deaf. I can hear you. So, what do you do?
Well, that just got awkward. But Mom, I'm just saying, I think this would be a great idea.
How so? Do you know what Rory does?
Yes.
What does he do?
From what I can tell, martial arts, and he's a monk.
Yeah, he goes around helping people.
And what's so wrong with your son doing that?
Because I don't want him to get stabbed
by
orcs, or eaten by a dragon, or torn apart by a hydra, or stabbed by a unicorn.
A unicorn, Mom? Really? A unicorn?
Yes. They do stab people. Why do you think they have that horn?
I'm gonna try not to laugh. I'm gonna just like kind of turn to my side and chuckle and try to get as serious as I can and brush my shirt.
So as you kind of put your hand down to try and hide your chuckle, you hear it first. You hear, and then chancla mark right on the side of Terra's face.
Ow, Mom!
I have another one. I can get to it.
Mom!
Where do you think you got your quick hands?
I don't know. fishing with Pop for old Grouchy?
I want you to tell your brother that he has to stay, and I'll not hear another word.
I'm sorry.
I won't hear it.
I'm sorry, but I can't say that.
You can and you will.
Didn't a few
You can and you will. So you hear your dad kind of like he kind of slowly gets up from the table.
I'm still rubbing my cheek, by the way.
Sure. All eyes are on your father, the patriarch of the family. And so he kind of gets up. He kind of brushes off his waistcoat, pulls it down, kind of like settles himself. I'm going to get some breakfast. And he quickly walks right out the door.
Thanks, Dad.
It's not my problem.
So I'm gonna try and shuffle behind Danzin.
So Danzin says, Terra, I know you're there. But I'm going. I wish it was with your blessing, Mom. Terra, what can I do? You've done this before. You've left home at a very young age and kind of sort of trained. You drank a lot, but you also trained.
Well, drinking is key to having a good time and learning.
So your mother's eyes got big. Terra Highhill, how dare you? How dare you undermine? You're breaking your poor mother's heart. Don't you know this?
Mom, all I'm trying to say is...
I need the rest of you three to make a perception roll. General perception roll.
Yeah, 19.
19. Barag, what do you got?
Modified 20.
Modified 20.
I rolled 18.
18. All right. All three of you. You're kind of getting up to begin your day. And quickly you see an older halfling. You've seen him before. Pa Highhill. And he's just making a beeline away from the Highhill domicile. Very quickly. You almost trip over him.
I turn around and try to catch up.
So he says, "Hi Talvis, hi Talvis.
Is everything all right?"
Bye Talvis.
I kind of look back towards where he's coming from and not observing any combat or blood.
And before you even look, you hear it before you see anything. You hear the screaming coming out of this house.
So I just kind of walk over just to make sure that nobody's dying.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you are the cleric.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So, what about you two?
I'm gonna yell to Talvis, "Have fun! I'll see you later!" And then just throw up a peace sign and walk away.
Sure.
Thanks for nothing.
You're a brave dwarf.
You're very welcome. I don't want to feel the wrath of Mom Highhill.
I'm just going to walk the other way.
All right. So,
I didn't even say anything. I just turned
Daedalus and Barag bone out, and Talvis, you're sitting there waiting at the door, and
I remember that.
Yeah. Seriously. So yeah, you hear the screaming, and you see Dan's in there, and I'm gonna make him make a perception roll. Doesn't know you're there.
Am I inside the building already?
You are just outside.
The door's closed?
There is actually no door. There's just leather strips.
Okay.
It's a very temporary shelter, so
Okay.
no door to speak of.
So I do my best to conceal myself and just try to listen in on the conversation.
Okay.
Because at this point I have no clue what's going on.
Sure. That's fair. That's fair. All right. So so she says he's not going to the Hinfist Monastery. He's not going to any monastery. He's not going on a pirate ship. He's not going to be a lush. Not that you're a lush, Terra. You are not, but you drink more than you should. You know this. We have weak livers, Terra. We're high hills, not high drinks.
That's why I'm with somebody that could probably help me with that.
Who?
Oh, why do you think I stick around with the cleric? If I drink a little too much, you just like that with the spell.
Terra, I don't think that's how that works.
That's good enough.
Regardless, you need to stop drinking. And
So drink more.
so her eyes get big. You know what? It's gonna be a contested intimidation roll.
No!
Yeah.
No!
Woo! Modified 20.
Oh!
So
No.
I will have you counter this with perhaps not an intimidation roll. Let's make this a persuasion roll.
Oh, thanks.
Let's see who's the first. Who's the first to give?
Thanks.
3. All right. So
Don't
yeah,
backhand me.
you just look at her and you know you're in real fear for your life right now. You know you just asked her once too much. Like you know there's a line and you try to get her there as close to it as possible, and you're pretty good at it, but you kind of misjudged where that line is and you pushed her over. So now you know that you're in real danger. Like this is like some hill giant or dragon shit type danger. So yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of cowardly duck behind Danzin and kind of peek over his shoulder. I'm sorry, Mom.
So she kind of puts her hands up and she's gonna reach for you, and she kind of withdraws her hands. Terra High Hill, go outside. I'll speak to you later.
Thanks, Danzin. And I'm gonna just walk
So
away.
she kind of gets down on one knee and she goes, "You're my baby boy. I can't have you go." So he's like, "Mom, I'm going. I'm going."
I stick my head through the leather kind of
Partition?
strap things.
Yeah.
I'd knock, but I just kind of look around.
So she sees your head kind of come through the partition, and Talvis, the voice of reason.
So I'm gonna kind of as I'm walking out, I'm like, "Oh, Talvis, there you are. I actually need some help with some stuff. Let's go." And I'm gonna start kind of pushing him out as best as I can. Let's just we have that thing to do.
So I just pull my head back out and just kind of stand there waiting.
You told us to wait outside,
So she
Mom.
goes,
This is on you.
Talvis.
And my head goes back in. Yes.
Run, Talvis, run!
Talvis, my youngest son, my baby, wants to
Oh no!
go fight.
So I step the rest of the way through.
You're a
and
dead man, Talvis.
I look at her and then Danzin and is that right?
Because I think that with the loss of my vision, I could benefit a great deal with training at the Hidden Fist Temple. It is a temple of halflings, monks who help people, but they train and are open to mysticism and the manipulation of their inner key energy to do wonderful things. And already I've improved in just these couple of months with Rory, and then after my accident, I don't feel so helpless. And I think if I go there, that I have an honest shot of not being a burden to my mother. And he kind of puts a little emphasis on that.
And so I just kind of am nodding, even though he obviously doesn't know that. But just kind of in general understanding, I look at the mother and say, so what might be the issue with that?
My objection?
Yeah.
Is that he's my son. There's no other.
Really?
There's nothing else needed.
Well, far be it from me to get between a mother and her love for her son.
Yes, far be it from you, Talvis, to do that.
But
so you kind of get that. That's your warning.
Right.
That's the shot across the bow that she just gave you.
Right. And I keep a 10-foot
Sure.
distance.
Sure.
It does occur to me, and this is simply for you to do what you wish with it. This is not a attempt at persuasion. But your son had this condition, kind of not in his direction, inflicted on him by no fault of his own. It was not a result of his action or his placing himself in danger.
So she goes, I know. And she puts her hand up to her mouth and she goes, my poor baby boy.
He was simply going about the life that you wish for him to continue living. My point is that these dangerous, terrible things can happen to any of us.
Talvis, you're verbally dancing quite a bit.
I believe that, and this is my opinion,
Right.
that he is likely to be in some form of danger at some point in his life, regardless.
Talvis.
It may do him
Talvis
well to
of Hestia.
be able to protect himself.
Talvis of Hestia! How dare you, sir?
I think that the boy's mind is in the right place. He wishes to protect himself.
My heart has been broken 3 times today. 3 times.
And so
My son, my daughter, and a man who I regard to as family have all broken my heart.
Oh, well.
And you hear Davert go, Mom, come on. It's not that big a deal.
Your village, in fact, the horrible fate that was inflicted upon your village. Nobody there did anything to tempt that fate. It just happened to them. There's nothing any of them could have done. But
so as you're talking, you see Milcune kind of poke her head into the shelter, and she kind of sees, like, very quickly she's able to read the room sort of, and she goes, "Oh, you guys are busy. Bye." And she leaves.
And I turn around. I'm finding you later.
No, you're not. Where's Terra?
So I turn back. All I mean to say is that if he is going to be taking some kind of risk, just by virtue of existing, he might as well take the risk that he chooses.
Talvis, sit down.
So I kind of find the closest place to me to sit down. In other words, still like trying to keep a distance.
Sure. So she grabs a chair, and the one slipper on the floor she puts on her foot, and she slowly inches towards you, and she says, "Talvis, tell me he's gonna be okay. If I let him go, he's just turned 9 years old."
I can't tell you that. I don't know if any of us are gonna be okay. That's my point. I certainly hope for it and I believe it, but I don't know.
That's a pretty good point. That's a pretty good point. So she kind of looks at her son. She goes, "There will be requirements, of course. Should I allow you to go, you must send a raven to the roost weekly." "Yes, I will. And as soon as I don't get a raven, Talvis is coming to get you." So she kind of looks at you.
I just nod really quickly at her.
Okay, weekly, or Talvis will come and get me. Got it. Okay, all right. I will have breakfast as usual. Meet me outdoors, boys.
Will do.
I have to tell Rory the good news and pick out a plot for them to bury my dead body. Thank you, Talvis.
Yes. Well, everybody.
But I want to
enjoy
make
your morning.
sure that you're well fed before they bury me.
Thank you. That's for your consideration. And
No, thank you for your consideration.
I just kind of walk over to Danzin and just give him kind of a pat on the shoulder. I'll be talking to you soon, and just try to dart out of there as quickly as possible.
So as you kind of dart out, he's like, "Talvis, hey, thanks again. I owe you more than I can ever repay."
Don't worry about it.
All right, Barag.
Where is Thupneem right now?
Thupneem is in the stony stronghold.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
She spends most of her time in the stronghold. It has the best facilities. It's strong. So she spends most of her time there. And if she's not there, there's kind of like a makeshift outdoor worshipping area that she can usually be found in, which at a glance you could see that she's not there. There are people there, but she doesn't happen to be there. So you ask around and make an investigation roll. 2. She could be in the Colosseum looking for those monsters underneath. You have no idea.
Well, since I have no idea.
But for the most part, she spends most of her time in the castle. You just don't know where in the castle she is. In the stronghold.
On second thought, I'm not going to waste my time at the castle and trying to find Thupneem.
You're so meta right now.
I'm going to get lost in there, but I think I'm going to still go and try and attempt to find her.
Sure. Okay. You find her. It takes some doing, but eventually, after you ask enough questions, you do find her in a small chamber in the stronghold. She's just got like a small wooden, very very plain looking box, rudimentary. Lots of like personal items, letters and lockets and things like that. Probably all the personal possessions that she owns. And she's just kind of thumbing through them. You don't really know to what end though.
Interesting. I'll stroke my dwarven beard.
Sure.
And I'll walk up there and just say, I've come to say farewell. We're off to another adventure.
Another adventure.
That's what we do.
Balor's ransom. I love you for.
We don't want to be going, but...
I know. If you can do here what you did for other people, that's okay.
I guess that's what we aim to do in life, is to help where we can. Even though that's what it was and what we originally set out to do and what our destiny was, but it's become that.
Well, I'll be sad to see you go, but I'm happy nonetheless.
I don't want to go, but I'm gonna reach behind my pack and pull out the little Four Travelers flag that I have attached to my pack.
Sure.
And I'm gonna pull it out, and I'm just gonna give it a little wave, and be like, wherever we go, we know we'll have you with us, though.
Yes. Your flags will fly high.
I hope one day we can make it back here sometime.
So she kind of takes a deep breath when you say that. And she says, Barag, I'm old. And I have no illusions about the type of life that you lead. However, if this is the last that we see of each other, let it be with a smile and smile and hope in our heart, laughter on our lips.
That's all we can do. And maybe, we could go find some good ale.
That's true.
Before I depart.
So she gets up. She goes, normally it's a little too early for ale for me. However, I am willing to make exceptions. As she gets up out of her chair.
Do you need some help? I can carry you. Go ahead and hop on. And I point to my bag and I'm like, I'll carry you down there.
No, I'm okay.
I had to offer.
I'm an old lady, but I'll make it. Have you seen Mayor Shim around?
No, but I think I heard she's organizing people, probably
That girl.
organizing and putting together.
I've never seen anybody work so hard. Politicians, huh?
Aye, it's a whole different world out there.
Mm.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her, though.
Yes. She a lot of people are in her debt, including the Lorwick Dales. So she kind of starts walking out with you, and she goes, "So where do you plan on going? After I'm hearing terrible business about the dwarven territories."
I've had a bit of a problem conundring that myself what we're gonna do. My dwarven allies, they're all in a frenzy, killing each other for the throne.
I mean, I know the elves are pretty close by, but orcs are always attacking up north. You would think that they would have their hands full just fighting orcs all day.
Instead, they decided to fight each other. I don't know exactly what started all of it.
Well, I'm sure the four of you will go over there and you will straighten all of that mess out.
I'm hoping we are, but that's until another day because we're headed on another adventure to, I believe, the Sword Coast. I haven't talked to Terra yet, though.
Yes, well, I mean, you're headed in the same general direction, so
Maybe...
I just hope, I know it's where you're from, and home is where the heart is, and I don't want your home destroyed because that would destroy your heart. You've got a pretty good one.
It's been tearing at me these last few weeks, but my time will come. I just have to.
So she kind of smiles when you say that. She goes, "You know what, Barag? I think that it will."
Then I just get this curious look on my face, and I just smile back as we walk towards.
And engage in general chit chat. Daedalus, Hartwell the Magnificent. What are you doing? What are you doing, sir?
I know.
Breakfast is just getting started.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go and eat. We have a long trip ahead of us.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go and grab some food.
Okay. So the high hills are there, and they're just starting, so it'll take about a half hour. But you start packing provisions, food for the road. And Milcune comes by as you're tending to your provisions, your food and your water skins and things like that. And she's just kind of like playing with her dagger and throwing it up, and she's gotten quite good. Like you can tell, just as she's not even really paying attention to it, as she's kind of like throwing it and catching it in her hand, throwing it and catching it in her hand. So, I heard you guys are leaving.
Yeah, unfortunately, the adventure is out there and it's taking us across the sea.
The adventure is out there, and she smiles. Daedalus Hartwell, who rescued me from the mire. And she runs over to you and gives you a big half-orc hug.
And I'm like,
Yeah. You're like, oh, I think that rib kind of came loose.
Slowly bring my arms around like this, and I hug her. And probably around the waist or something.
Yeah.
Even as an elf, I'm really tall, but I'm probably still not as tall.
No, not as tall. But she kind of whispers in your ear. She goes, "I know what you did, and I'll never forget it." So she kind of like pulls away, and you see kind of like moisture building in the corners of her eyes.
I'm just like, don't worry, we'll see each other again. I guarantee it.
I'm going to make sure that you do. Thank you, Daedalus.
You're very welcome. Take care of yourself, and make sure you keep on practicing.
I will.
You don't want to be on the bad side of Terra.
Yes, we all know that. All right, Daedalus. Good luck out there.
Same to you.
Send us ravens, would you? Let us know how you're doing.
I will.
Thank you.
I wave
So she kind of waves away, and she kind of has this kind of whimsical sort of a gait to her. Like, there's not a care in the world. Like, her father's gone, and but she kind of seems at peace. And you see a lot of people now are adopting that sort of same gait, that same whimsical outlook on life, where we're at peace. And it's not something that they've known for a very long time.
No.
So, you guys eat breakfast, say your goodbyes, and you guys head out. Or is there anything else you'd like to do? Daedalus Hartwell, who hired a ranger.
Dun, dun, dun.
So she's
I should have let you walk away without picking that crap up. I'm such a nice and giving DM. I wouldn't do that to you.
Very.
And humble.
It's true. It's true. I am very humble.
They would have just been like, you could just go without whatever you did. What was it? Was it taxidermy or whatever that you did? Or was that...
No, it was-
Chimera stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Chimera stuff.
Yeah.
It was the pelts and all that.
So I'm gonna go before we leave and go and seek her out.
Okay, so make an investigation roll, Mister. What is it? I don't know what a grunt is.
It's a 1.
It's a 1. A natural one?
Yes.
Okay.
Halfling.
No.
No, it doesn't work for this.
You can't just say halfling luck anytime anybody rolls a 1. There are specific requirements to it.
I could.
However, were you helping him?
Oh no, I was not.
You're not even anywhere near him, so.
Well, actually, we were all in the same area.
No.
I tried.
It was good.
I
It was
tried.
good. It was nice. I'm not saying that you don't find her, but it takes you an extraordinarily long amount of time to find her. You trip a couple of times. You fall in a mud one time into a mud hole with that roll of 1, but you manage to kind of right yourself, and you do eventually do find her. So she's Daedalus Hartwell. So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You've come for your taxidermy.
Yes.
So she walks over, and she's got a small bundle packed. It's wrapped in like butcher paper, and it's tied with twine, and it has your name kind of scrawled on it. And then there's a second parcel that's a little bit longer, probably about the size of a large wand, and that's also wrapped with your name on it. And she kind of looks at you, and there you go.
Thank you very much. And I grab a piece of silver out and I just flip it to her. Here, a little more just for you.
Wow, she rolled a 3. So she kind of like hits it a couple times, and then falls on the ground, quickly picks it up and shines it on her lapel. And thank you, Daedalus.
Take care of yourself.
You're heading out now, huh?
Yes.
Be careful out there. The west is quite
Yeah.
wild.
That's what I've heard.
Yes.
But we will make it through.
I know that you will.
Always do. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you again. And I grab all the stuff, and
Good luck to you, Master Hartwell.
and to you. And I walk back to where the ship is or something.
Sure. And so you have your taxidermy, and as do you open it up at all, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna when I reach back to where provisions are, I'm gonna set it down and kind of open it up
Sure.
and see what there is.
You crack it open, and it's beautiful work. The leather is, I mean, when you saw it, it had scorch marks in it. It had Terra's frostbrand dagger, like little bits of frost on it. Now it's just thick, supple chimera leather. I mean, you could actually wrap yourself like a comforter. You can wrap in it and sleep in it. That's how soft it is.
And I was like looking at it, I was like, maybe I can get armor made out of this. Wonder if there's enough of it.
Don't know.
So
You'd have to find somebody. And
Probably
then
wait
the
till
chimera tail is, again, she just did a bang up job. you've never seen taxidermy of this quality, but she is a ranger. It's kind of her thing. So, anything else?
Has construction begun on the Temple of Hestia?
There is a foundation laid.
Okay.
For the most part, they hold service just outside.
Okay.
And they've got makeshift pews just made of like boards sat upon bricks. And they've got a small like makeshift handmade kind of altar. And they've got like a portable like fireplace, which keeps the congregation warm, but it's also a hearth. So yeah, they've got kind of a place to worship, but the temple itself is going to be erected at some point.
And in the last 2 weeks, have we done the initiation for Milcune?
For Milcune?
Yeah.
Her inclusion ceremony?
Yeah.
I'll say you have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wanted to make sure that was
yeah, you've had plenty of time to do that.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've had plenty of time to do that. And you will get XP for that.
Okay. Well then, after saying our goodbyes, I think that's it for me.
Okay. So you guys leave the Lorwick Dales. You leave the east coast of the Faerun. And yeah, it's kind of like bittersweet, right? Yeah. So the four of you, Valor's Ransom, you begin your journey west. Talvis, you look to head to Baldur's Gate to become familiar with the infrastructure of the Order of Hestia. I believe you had a messenger a couple of weeks ago who summoned you. Daedalus, you know that there's an island off of the Sword Coast on this continent of Faerun where you feel that you can begin your search for your patron. Barag, just to the northwest of the Faerun lie the islands that comprise most of the Dwarven kingdoms. A kingdom in the midst of civil war, soaked in Dwarven blood and fire. Terra, you still have yet to meet your nemesis. Under the banner of parley, of course. No actions can be taken against one another. And you know that you can find her crew, and your former ship, now dubbed Terra's Tears, somewhere off of the Sword Coast. As the four of you head westward, you pass the Sanguine Sands. You see the crumbles of the once temple of Talos. You traverse wild grasslands. You pass the massive sinkhole that sits deep into the earth that's at least 100 foot wide in diameter, left by the giant purple worm that you killed in the swamp that once served as your home to many of the refugees of the Lorwick Dales. And as you continue to head into the center of the continent of Faerun, you quickly realize that the road is fraught with dangers and perils unimaginable, but also opportunities. You pass through a field of statues, large, ancient, alien-looking heads carved in ancient rock dubbed the Mineral Meadow. It is just a field of stone heads sticking out of the ground. That is until you hit the center of the Mineral Meadow. That's when the heads pull the rest of the submerged bodies from the soil. An army of stone golems that the four of you had to navigate and fight through. A shame, because an army of stone golems, these giant statues that have come to life, were made of a seldom seen slate, stone, and rock. And even one Barag that you surmised was made of coral. Daedalus Hartwell, you learned that there was a very large bounty on your head as a group of witch hunters set upon this very group with a well laid out trap, leaving the group vulnerable. But thanks to quick thinking of one Terra Highhill, who understood the value and language of gold, you offered the hunters a sum of coin that was far more than the bounty was worth. They left with full coin purses, and the conflict was avoided. Terra, you tried to convince the leader of these witch hunters to spread misinformation that Daedalus Hartwell was dead. But the ebony-skinned, silver-haired elf that had been staring daggers into Daedalus the whole time quietly replied, "We take this gold in honor, with our honor intact, knowing that someone will collect the bounty on this witch's head." You also ran across a druidic circle, deep in the expanse of the Black Claw jungles. You managed to rescue an animal that was said to house an ancient human intelligence from the clutches of a nightmarish perversion of the natural world itself called a Wendigo. As reward, you were given a stitch spider, a large arachnid about the size of a human hand that can close any wound with its silk, claws, and pincers, and is said to have an appetite for dead necrotic flesh. Druids have learned to utilize this creature medicinally, and this spider seems to be keenly aware of Barag at all times, perhaps detecting a bounty of potential future food source of necrosis. And let's not forget about when Balor's Ransom rescued a centaur princess, a half-human, half-horse creature from an ancient civilization. They have the body of a horse and the torso, head, and arms of a human. Bravely, the four of you went to rescue her from the clutches of an insane wizard that magically infused his consciousness with that of a clockwork man of his own design. A wizard fascinated with toys that wound with clockwork gears, and a wizard fascinated with toys but obsessed with marbles. Into the tower of gears, spheres, coils, and springs you journeyed into, fighting obelisks of metal until eventually you and the cadre of mighty centaur warriors rescued the centaur princess Kayleen. All of you riding out of the collapsing tower at full gallop on the backs of these mighty centaurs as the clockwork edifice sank all around you. Talvis, on the back of the formerly captured centaur princess Kayleen, of course, rode out as only Talvis can ride out, seated backwards. And let's not forget Barag's ale drinking contest, a contest, of course, which he won. In the following days, Barag discovered that ale no longer had the merry effect it once had on him. In fact, he had become immune to the effects of all alcohol. Yeah, Barag would not let this stand. And you soon found that you were cursed by a meddlesome trickster imp that found your plight, in its own words, rather amusing. Journeying on a quest to end Barag's forced sobriety, slimming waistline, and healthy living, the company set out on a 2-week campaign that ended in a war between the races of imps against Balor's Ransom and their new pixie allies of the Faerun. But in the end, Barag's alcohol immunity curse was finally broken. You all celebrated by getting hammered at the local tavern, where it all started, and Barag's wise words, "Puke never tasted so good." These adventures and so many, many more were had. It took the better part of a whole season, but it is now the month of... I have the months written down, guys. Relax. Don't give me that side eye, Courtney.
Why is it always me?
I was just saying, I'm not sitting there next to him.
But it is now the month of Kythorn. And as you continued west, Terra was the first to see it. An oceanic bird, a seagull. Feathers still glistening with ocean water. Terra, you could smell it, salt water in the air. Then off in the distance, you all could see it. Giant walls constructed of the toughest dwarven ore and the strongest elven wood. The walls towered 50 foot into the air, and the guard towers every 50 feet along the wall. The ramparts were wide. They would have to be to accommodate all of the amount of oil in the cauldrons and the ship cannons that lined the perimeter of the fortification. Behind the wall, you could see a sprawling metropolis. Folks of all kind, races so exotic that most of you have never seen them before. A large group of Arakocra, large 6-foot tall beings that are as much falcons as they are humanoids, walked out of the gates. In their scaled and taloned hands, they carried silks and fabrics that look almost ethereal and seem to shimmer in the coastal sunlight. A mixed group of orcs, seafaring orcs, judging by their garb and their sun-weathered skin, walked into the city with empty ale steins, arms thrown around each other's shoulders, bellowing an ancient orcish marching cadence with surprising melodic tone. The smells of all manner of seafood mixed with the exotic spices from far-off lands filled the air. Merchant barkers can be heard just within the walls calling to potential customers, new and old, to pursue their wares. It's a vibrant city, filled with life. You estimate there's over 10,000 beings within these walls, of many different types of races, living within heavily guarded walls, and it is the second most traveled seaport on the Sword Coast. So, Terra, Barag, Daedalus, and Talvis, you have finally arrived. Welcome to the city of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
I love it when he asks that question. What would you like to do?
I
Question in the whole world.
I've never been here before. Correct?
Terra has.
That's right. Okay.
Terra has. She would be a very good guide.
Find me some food, Terra, please.
So I'm just soaking it in, kind of in awe
It's
as we walk in.
it's almost too much to take in at once. It's almost as if somebody was literally dropped in the middle of Manhattan for the very first time, with no sort of direction. It's you've got so much sensory information coming in. You've got races and people that look so alien to you. You've got people like shoulder to shoulder and all manner of buildings. You've got, you know, a black ivory, no, rather a black tower in the center of the city, and most of the security there kind of wear a white. They wear heavy armor, but they've got like a white tunic with a red fist that has kind of flames sewn coming out of the fist. So you know these. The Flaming Fist Mercenary Group. You've more than once tangled with them, possibly during drunken nights coming in from the sea, you and your crew. But you also know that they're at least about 1,000. So you know that yes, you can misbehave, but you can only take it so far.
Yeah. So as they're all kind of staring in awe, I'm just gonna kind of like, in a very relaxed manner, it's good to be home.
And it is kind of a homecoming for you.
All right, boys. Let me lay down the law here, right?
What?
She's the law here.
It's a different world than that, past those gates, so to speak.
I'm gonna walk up there and just pat her on the head and be like, yeah, you're the law, sure.
So I'm gonna point to Barag, and you see those nice looking armored men over there?
Yeah, I would love to take a piece of them.
Okay. Don't cause too much shit for me to get you out of. They don't fuck around, so to speak.
And I'm just gonna take Chimera Rising and heft it up in there and just kind of catch it in my hand like a baseball player does with a baseball bat.
And if you think
And I'm
that,
just gonna be like, try me.
if you think that's gonna help you, it's really not. Anyways, you pretty boy, stick together with your people. If you gotta go somewhere, at least let us know. Keep your purses on you. I learned how to steal here.
That's good advice.
9 times out of 10 they might want to steal what's around that neck of yours. Anything shiny, anything that's pretty. keep that shit on you. I'm not gonna go look for it if it gets lost. And Daedalus, well, I think you'll do okay. You're pretty easy to get along with. I'm just more worried about these two, if you know what I mean.
I think I'll be doing just fine. Had enough of sleeping in the mud. I'm just kind of looking around and kind of trying to discern if there's any inns in our
there's
vicinity.
tons.
And then after taking a quick sort of peek, I turn to Terra. Where do you suggest we might stay in here? This seems like there are options.
Oh, there's plenty. You got some that are on the seafront, my personal favorite. You got some above the taverns here, and I'm gonna point to where the taverns are. You got some on the outskirts, more towards where the city folk are, trades, merchants, stuff like that.
Place with a good bar and some good food and
I know.
heat, and I'm getting kind of giddy at this point.
Yeah,
And
there's definitely a measure of excitement in the air for you, because you actually, for your character generation, you rolled that you do not like roughing it in the wild.
Yes.
So for you, this
You know.
just let me get in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So I've never been here, and I've never been in a city this big at
Yeah,
all.
that's true.
This is fantastic, and I'm just kind of spinning in circles, almost just looking at stuff.
Sure.
Well,
So-
listen here, boyos. I say we get some good food, and we'll get us a decent place to stay. Food's on me. I know of a place.
Okay. So as you guys approach Baldur's Gate, the large edifice, the wall, where the main gate is open, there is a contingent of about 10 of the Flaming Fist mercenary group. And they're just kind of like, they're almost like the people at Walmart when you go out. They're not really checking your receipt. They're just kind of waving you. Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. You know what I mean? They're just kind of like glancing over, and then until they get to Barag.
Oh, shit.
And they're all human. And one of them kind of, oh, fella. Hey, big guy.
What's the problem?
What the fuck is that? And he kind of points at your Chimera Rising.
It's called a wormhole. Have
Ah.
you ever heard of one?
Never seen one like that.
I.
Use it much.
Oh, trust me. I don't know if you've heard of us, but we.
Who is us?
Valor's ransom.
I can roll the 20. Val's Ransom.
You're
Val's Ransom. I thought you'd be taller.
Oh, well, I'm not so tall, but I make up for it in height.
Val's Ransom or not, do me a favor.
Aye.
Keep the weapon sheathed.
Fine. Yes, I will keep the weapon.
Unless you want to end up in the brig. Doing hard time. Labor.
So I'm gonna kind of like get in between
Scooping
them.
fish shit.
I'm gonna kind of like get in between them. Okay. We will make sure to mind our P's and Q's.
Swear to God, I rolled another 20.
Oh, shit.
So he looks at you. Fucking Terra Hill. I thought you was dead. Hey! They got a ship called Terra's Tears.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
So what are you doing back here? I thought you was dead. We all thought you was dead.
Oh, I'm sure you would wish I was dead.
I don't wish you were dead. I mean, you've caused us a fair amount of misery. I've got a couple of scars from you. Of course. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Keep them in your sheaths.
I will, and I am here on good terms. I promise you. And I put my hand out.
The Dukes don't take no shit.
How long have you known me, lad? I've been around here, I know my P's and Q's.
Understand.
I know the laws of the land.
I get it.
Okay, so why don't we get my big dwarvish friend here to a tavern?
It's because I know you that I'm telling you all this.
And I'm gonna turn to the guys. Listen to him. Okay, Chief, this is, let's go. Let's head on
Everybody
out.
can go in except for Terra Hill.
Aren't you a clever little...
So he puts his hand out. Unless I can be persuaded, of course.
So I'm gonna put in 3 gold pieces.
One would have done, but thank you.
That's for you to be at least a little kinder.
Yeah.
Cut me some slack here. So I'm gonna start walking.
So he kind of, as soon as you say cut me some slack here, he kind of, that was pretty funny. All right, guys, come on, let's go. So you enter Baldur's Gate, and the roads are cobblestone roads. You've seen them many times, and actually you would have seen them coming from a dwarven city. Trade is big where you're coming, where the dwarven cities are. So cobblestone roads are kind of a thing for you guys. In that way, dwarves are a very advanced race. But this is something new for Daedalus Heartland, seeing cobblestone roads, and even for you, it's very affluent. So you're kind of pounding the ground, and wow, it's kind of cool. The buildings are old. Some of them look like they are about to fall to the left or the right. That's how old they are. But that's more towards the actual wall. Some of the more well-kept houses are kept more toward the center of the metropolis. A lot of stone slate roofs. A lot of the stonework is done by dwarves within the city, or shipped from the dwarven kingdoms. Although those shipments have stopped coming, and so a lot of the roofing is starting to fall into disrepair due to the lack of shingles, stone shingles and things like that. You hear music playing almost everywhere. All different types of music as well. You hear, you smell all different types of foods cooking, mostly seafoods, chowders, soups, things like that. Sometimes they'll have like a big cauldron right on the sidewalk, and there's a line of sailors with bowls out. They just flip them a couple of coppers, and they get to fill up the bowl and continue to go on their way. A lot of people, they eat on the go because they're coming from a ship or going to a ship. So a lot of times on the corner there'll be just a cauldron of soup or something that you can grab quick for a couple of copper, and then just get back to the ship. So yeah, what do you guys want to do?
So, I say we go to...
Well, there are 2 main spots that you would frequent when you were here. The first spot, which is kind of a divey place, but it has its own set of internal rules. It's almost like that hotel in John Wick. Like, nobody fights in there. But it's called the Clamhammer, and it's actually close to the water. Like, you could see the ocean right from the Clamhammer. But again, very divey. And then there's also the Cloak and Stagger, where a lot of the more disreputable people within Baldur's Gate would frequent. If you needed some information from a questionable source, if you needed to task somebody, the Cloak and Stagger would be a good meet place. And they purposely don't have lighting in the Cloak and Stagger. They've got a couple of candles here and there, but for the most part, it's kept very, very, very dark inside. During the day, the shades are drawn closed for privacy, and
And what was the name of the first place?
the Clamhammer.
So, I'm gonna, as we're walking, I'm gonna motion to them to kind of follow me. There's a place I want to take you folk, but they do have, so to speak, one main rule.
Now, also, to be fair, you also know that this is also a house of low repute as well. Many of the sailors come to take care of tension, I suppose. But it's not uncommon in a seaport city to have places like this. Usually the local militia or law enforcement usually just get paid off to kind of look the other way. But it is called the Clam Hammer for a reason. All right, so.
So I'm gonna.
You're welcome.
And they don't know. And they don't know this but me, right? Like,
No, they don't know.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of look to Talvis and kind of give like a smirk. And for you, pretty boy, I think you're gonna like this place a heck of a lot.
They have soft beds because that's what I could use right now.
Oh, they have something soft, all right. So I'm gonna turn to everybody else, and one rule though. Absolutely, under no circumstances, and I'm gonna turn to Barag. No fighting. You fight, you're dead.
The big sigh.
You realize, though, if he gets in a fight, I am under a moral obligation to help him. If he fights,
Then
I
you're
fight.
dead too. Then you're dead too. I'm not helping.
And then,
I
I'm
am
sure
not- I
Daedalus
am-
will be glad to hop in. Then
I
we're all
mean,
fighting.
I mean,
seems like
I
a
will protect.
Giant fight, yes.
Don't give him any ideas. I am serious.
But if they have soft beds, we'll be able to recuperate. It'll be great.
Oh yes, there's plenty of ways to recuperate in such a place.
As long as you buy
Speaking
my
in
ale.
riddles. Okay, well, let's see.
I'm just gonna start chuckling to myself.
Sure. Everybody gets a point of inspiration. You guys are so good. All right, so you have no right being this good.
But I will tap Terra on the shoulder. Hey, as long as you buy me more ale, I won't fight.
I will buy you as much ale as you need to not get into a fight. I do not need to get in trouble with these people.
The more ale, the better.
Ale to not get into a fight. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I love
Okay.
the thinking. Don't you, Thomas?
Yes, sure. Sounds good to me.
Like I said, dinner, lunch, whatever you want to call it, is on me. And maybe a show or two. And I'm just gonna start walking.
What's your passive perception, Barag?
What would that be?
Passive perception, sir, is going to be what? I'm dropping my mic here, guys.
Right.
Yeah. What's your perception? So, 12, right?
Oh, yeah.
12? Okay. All right. So, believe it or not, you tied. All right. So, as you guys are kind of chatting and walking down the road, this cobblestone street, and Talvis is kind of taking it all in. Daedalus is kind of taking it all in, and you're haggling with Talvis and Barag not to fight. Barag, you feel kind of a tug at your belt where your coin purse would be, as it were. What do you do?
So, I turn around real quickly and grab onto my purse.
So you quickly you grab you do have somebody by the wrist.
Uh-huh.
As you turn around, is a young man, probably about 16, 17 years of age, dirty, not wearing much clothing. What he has is somewhat ragged. So he's, oh shit.
Yeah, what?
Do we notice this?
Yeah. I mean, like, Barag was quick. Like, he felt it and he just grabbed it, and it happened, like, within a second. And it was, like, almost right after you said, and, you know, hold on to your coin purses, boys. And as soon as you said that, like, Barag snagged him. Look, I'll leave. Sorry. That's my fault.
Your fault that you're grabbing at my coin purse.
You look really strong.
Yeah.
Don't hit me.
I won't. I promised my friend here I wasn't gonna get into any trouble.
Don't take me to the flame fist, please.
Why? What beef do you have with the flame fist?
I hear they kill people.
Well, of course they kill people, boy.
No. It's unnatural.
Well,
I'll be on my way.
I don't think I'm gonna let you off that easy.
Please.
Drag him up to my face by his wrist and bring him right into his.
Well, he's actually taller than you.
Oh.
Because he's human. He's human.
Oh, okay, he's human. Okay.
Yeah. So you kind of you can bring him down to your level.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him
So
down.
you kind of pull him, hard and make a roll here. Okay. No flame fist about.
Do I notice if the gentleman that Barag has in his grasp, do I notice if he has a coin purse on him himself anywhere?
No, he's got a makeshift. It's like material that's been folded in half and sewn at the edges for him to put things in, but nothing that really secures or anything like that. And it's literally on a piece of old ship rope tied around his waist. Probably you can surmise probably something that he just was able to get together with scraps and things like that he found.
So as I bring him down to my level, I'm gonna be like, I won't tell the Flame Fist about you and let you go if
Yes.
you come with us and you let me buy you a meal.
You serious?
Either that or you can go to the
No. Meal is awesome. Benorium. My name is Benorium.
Benorian.
Nice to meet you.
Let's make your acquaintance.
Sorry about the voice. I got punched in the throat once.
Oh.
Yeah.
So sore throat, Adam Apples kind of thing.
Sort of. Hazards of the trade.
so I'm gonna, as they're kind of chit-chatting, come on, boys. If we're gonna get any food or anything done today, let's get going.
Okay. Let's get Benorium here with us to.
Thanks. Where are you guys coming from? Like on a ship or something?
I know.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
What
she said.
I won't ask. I know better.
How would you spell his name?
It is.
that's what I wanted to know, too.
It's Benorium. Benorium.
Benorium.
That was close. One and off.
Human, right?
I-U...
Human. He's human.
I-U-N?
M.
N.
Benorium.
Has M as in mother?
Mother.
Yeah.
Human...
Terra's mother
Benorium.
I still got the.
will never forgive you.
I still got the
Chunkla
cheek
mark
burn
on
from
your
the
face.
chunkla.
It's been about 3 months since you guys traversed the country. I mean, you literally.
I'm still scarred for life.
Sure.
It's still embedded in my mind.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
I was
Chunkla
surprised
does that
he
to you.
didn't notice that there was a chunkla stain on my. A nice big welted
He's
chunkla.
just trying to get out alive.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I say to Benorium, also, you're gonna be my eyes and ears of this town.
What do you want to know?
Anything and everything
Sure.
my friend here has been looking for some people,
Yeah.
roommates of hers.
Okay. Who?
As they're talking, I use the Hearth of Hestia to cast Stone of Truth in order to get him encompassed by it.
Hey, smart.
Yeah. You make that roll. What's your DC?
It's a 16.
16. It went up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
16.
Wow. I rolled 14. All right. So yeah, he's in it. He doesn't know though.
Yeah. So I look to him and I tell him, I'm about to tell him, but first I go, I'll get you a meal a day if you be my eyes and ears of this town.
A meal a day. I intend to eat your meal and never see you again. Oh! And he puts his hand quickly over his mouth.
Ha!
Huh?
I just
What?
victoriously pump my fist.
What? I did say that.
Yes, you did, my friend.
What's going on?
Well, little do you know, our friend here is a cleric.
Okay. Do you have a salve? I have a little something growing and.
I'm sure there's plenty of places in the city here to get that looked at. It's not my expertise.
I can't afford an apothecary.
Yeah.
But it burns when I pee.
And I just.
Oh! And he puts his hand over his mouth. He's like, "Why am I saying this?"
And I just reach out and I kind of find a pocket on his body somewhere and just slip one gold piece in there. Like, just get that taken care of.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's worth it to me as well, believe me.
Probably go to the apothecary.
Okay.
I will maybe go to the apothecary. Why am I saying this? I don't understand.
So I'm gonna turn to Daedalus. Not even 2 fucking minutes, and these two already picking up stray dogs and causing commotion.
Now,
I just shrug.
another question I have for you. Do you work on your own, or are you part of an organization that does this sort of work?
What sort of work is that? You have to be very specific.
Stealing people's money, pickpocketing.
Oh, yeah, I
sorts of
belong
things.
to a very large organization. What am I saying? What am I saying?
Oh, you're doing
Hi.
And what is the name of this organization?
It's just called the Guild. What am I saying?
Oh, you're
Why am
doing
I saying this?
You might get that meal yet.
And how many of there are you?
Oh, there's hundreds.
Oh, hundreds! In this town, or how many towns?
And
Here in Waterdeep.
And where?
What?
and
Waterdeep?
Oh,
Waterdeep.
goodness.
Oh, Waterdeep. You're based out of Waterdeep?
Oh.
Do I know?
Yeah.
No, I'm based here.
Do I know of Waterdeep?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Terra does.
Okay. And where might we find the leader or leaders of this organization? Do you have an outpost
Oh.
or a headquarters?
Yeah. We live in the sewer. What am I saying that for?
Great.
Benoria,
Benoria, your name will be known across your organization.
No! They'll
Benoria.
kill me, I'm pretty sure. We don't know the leader.
Okay.
What? I've never seen the leader.
And as he's doing this, I'm just gonna take my coin purse, open my pants, and drop it in, and
Oh!
hide it away.
Yeah.
So no one can
That's
get
probably a
it.
good idea, because I was going to steal that before the end of the night!
Oh, I'm glad that we met you. This is quite an amazing. So, if you don't want
I'm
to-
being bedeviled. I am being bedeviled.
Yes, you are.
Who's the demon?
And I point to Talvis.
Me, in a manner of speaking. Now, Benorium, I must let you know. In
That's
all
not my real
fairness,
name.
Oh, what's your real name? Then?
What?
Let me ask you what your real name is.
Huh.
I was like, please say it's something like incredibly cheesy.
No, it's Thrazic.
Razik.
Razik, hello.
Razik, the human
Razik.
Razik.
So how do you spell that?
Thrazzick. Thrazic.
I'm just gonna start sighing and like.
I'm genuinely exhausted.
Now,
I would just like to go.
No.
if we let you go, we have a pretty good wealth of information on you now. I must let you know, in all fairness,
No.
that if you were to try to come back and attempt something similar to what you did tonight, or maybe even try to eliminate us from your picture,
Yeah.
so as to not take any further risk,
Mhm.
I'm just letting you know that your name will get
No.
out to not only your guild,
No, don't do that.
but the Red Fist
they'll kill me.
and every other organization
No.
in the city. So,
I lied about the Red Fist. They don't kill anybody. What?
well.
Why are you writing that down? I don't
nonetheless.
understand. What is happening?
So, just letting you know that if you don't try to mess with us, we won't try to mess with you.
Okay, alright. Alright.
Because we do kill people.
Oh.
If
Yeah.
the need arises.
Oh.
Only if.
Why
though.
don't you keep your voice down?
Whew. This has been really enlightening.
Now you know my everyday life.
And I look around to the group. Any other questions for Thrazic Benorium?
Whoever that eldest guy
Yeah.
is. Yeah, that's fine. Thrazic over here. Hey, my friend.
Yeah, I
You
would
better
like
tell me what I want to know, and you're going to.
What?
We're just shaking this guy down in the middle of Baldur's Gate, like, we do kill people.
What? I don't understand. What? I really don't understand.
Have you heard of a certain ship called Terra's Tears?
Yeah. What? Yes,
Good.
I have.
They been here? Are they here now?
No, they're not here now. As far as I know. It could be, though.
They've been here, though?
Yes.
Of course they've been here, stupid. I'm from here. The bitch would want to be here to antagonize me.
It doesn't matter.
They've been on an extended thing. I don't know what it is. You could probably find out at the Climb Hammer.
Good.
All the sailors go there.
And unless
I'm
you
not
want
wanted
your name
there.
known, you're gonna bring me more information. If possible. If not,
I
I'll see you
am
in
going
the
to stay as
daytime.
far away from you as I possibly can.
That sounds good. Oh, and
Yes, that sounds good, I guess.
one
No.
more thing.
No, don't ask any more questions,
Does the
please.
Clam Hammer have
No.
soft beds?
No.
No?
Yes, they do.
Finally, a straight
They're notoriously
answer.
soft.
Okay.
I'm just gonna kind of.
But you really don't want to know what happens in those beds.
Will you shut up, boy?
How do you think I got this? I'm just saying.
Oh. Oh, jeez. I don't know if I want to eat the food now either. Oh,
The
great,
food is
Terra,
marginal.
thank you.
The food is marginal. But
Uh.
that's not why we go.
Okay, that's quite the explanation. I think I get the image, as it were. Yeah. Mm.
Bed bugs the size of fingernails.
Well, unless we're going to.
Unless that's something else.
That's probably something else, lad. Let's be real here.
Yeah, sailors.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a pretty big
That's right.
city. There's got to be decent
Ooh.
courtesans somewhere.
There are decent courtesans, you big baby.
Apparently not at this place that you were about to take us to.
I wouldn't know of any decent places to stay, obviously.
Uh,
Why don't you just get out of here, boy?
Yes.
and I
I better not see you
Recall the-
again.
No,
And I flash him Chimera Rising and then put it away real quick.
that's a big stick.
Yeah, well, don't be on the end of it, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
So Thrazic leaves very quickly. He's doing kind of like the power walk that the 50-year-old moms do in the mall, like
Yeah.
early in the morning before it even opens. That's what they're doing. Thrazic's just like trying to look as inconspicuous as possible.
Okay, well,
fun
we can
stuff.
go to this clam hammer, but I'm going to stand in the corner and pout until we find a place with a little bit of class.
Don't worry, I just need to get some information, get some food. We'll be on our way.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I'm already pouting a little bit.
Sure. So it's starting to get a little cooler. It's sensory overload. Like I can't stress that enough. I mean, the city is so big. You've never seen buildings as big as these. And you notice the city itself, within the city, has walls. And as you walk around the city and you're kind of sightseeing on the way to the tavern, Terra, you know this, that there are 4 distinct wards within Baldur's Gate, separations within the city. And some of the more affluent you've never even been to, but there's one ward where the more affluent of the city kind of belong to. And that's also where the rarest of goods go from the ships that dock at Baldur's Gate. And Baldur's Gate is weird because the Sword Coast kind of crooks almost at a right angle where Baldur's Gate is. And Baldur's Gate, the city itself, is actually at the crook of this angle. So it's almost like the city is at a 90-degree angle. So you could be at one end of the city and see the other end of the city right across the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so that's how big Baldur's Gate is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bay, kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's actually called the Sword of the Bay of Swords,
Oh, okay.
the bay that Baldur's Gate is at.
And only Terra knows of these wards at this point, though.
She's familiar with the wards.
I've never been.
She's only been to one of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
obvious
the dirty
reasons.
one.
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
And that is actually called the Port Ward, the ward that you've been to. But there are other wards within the city.
Do I know the names of the other ones?
You do. I can get that for you. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Editing is gonna be amazing for me.
Oh, please.
You just walk in and punch the first person.
Hey, you!
What'd you say?
I encourage you.
You're talking about my mother? What's your problem?
Here it is.
Flying teeth.
So, there is the Harbor Ward, which is the ward that you're familiar with. There is the Market Ward. There is the Merchant Ward. And the last ward is called the Tariki Ward. Or it's actually called Tariki Anchorage, but it's like the unofficial fourth ward.
That's the Richie Rich, I guess you could say, so to speak.
That's actually, no, it's actually just outside the city walls. The Merchants Ward is kind of where the more affluent people of the city live in the Merchants Ward.
How do you
It's also called the North Ward.
Okay. How do you spell that last one? The
TirYki. Yes, sir.
So do I notice that they're kind of looking around at this point, like at the, like they're still in shock or?
Yeah, I mean, you guys aren't hiding it, are you?
No. I felt like I'm at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Small world after guys.
Yeah. So in all, yeah, I mean, there's the city itself is kind of like where it angles. It's like the lower city and then the upper city, and then those two parts are kind of divided into two different wards and two different wards. So
okay.
that's kind of how the city is divided. And outside of the city, there are rather large settlements that could be considered like small cities just outside the main gate.
So I'm gonna kind of turn to everybody, and after we spent some time over. Where is it? Oh my god, I just wrote it down too. Haha! I totally had this prepared, not really. Nope, not that one.
Ay, ay, ay. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, after we head to the Clamhammer, I need to take some time to go to the Merchant's Ward.
You've never been to the Merchant's Ward.
I know, but I know that there is something there that I need.
Sure.
I heard of a place, the Omnium Continuum. Supposedly, they have a base out in the Merchant's Ward. I personally have never been there. I stick here to the harbor because, well, I'm a seafaring lass.
Make an investigation roll.
Halfling luck.
You rolled a 1?
I rolled a 1.
Oh wow.
Modified 20.
Modified 20. Okay. You also know that the Merchant Ward, not only does it have the Omnium Continuum, but Council of, no, I'm sorry, the school where all the magic users learn is actually in the merchant's ward as well. It's one of the most protected wards, one of the most protected places on the Sword Coast. Period. But that's why that they have the merchant's ward so close to that school. It's strategically placed there for a reason.
So I'm gonna look to Daedalus, and since I know you are into magic shit, they've got a school near the merchant's ward, I would say, pretty close to the Omnium Continuum. You may want to take a look at it, maybe with those, I hear those little nails of yours.
Yeah, maybe there's some way I can get rid of them.
That's your best place.
After that, running with those, bounty hunters, I don't want that to happen.
I don't want that to happen either. I don't think any of us want that to happen.
Oh, and one more thing. I solved that leather stuff, right? Yeah. Like, even after 3 months. Is there anyone who
What other stuff are you talking about?
The leather, the Chimera leather
Yeah,
that you got, with the tax
So, I was like, do you know anyone who could, like, do you think they could turn this in, like, art?
At the Omnium Continuum where I'm heading, they make some of the best weapons I've heard. I've never been there myself, like I've said.
Talvis, you were told the same thing by the stonecutter.
They work in anything with crafts. You got magic and, weaponsmiths, armor smiths. You've got everything there. So I'm sure we can bring that there for you, lad.
I'm like rubbing my hands.
Can I come with?
Of course, but I must, again, tell you, mind your P's and Q's. With the street that we ran into, that's fine in here, in the harbor ward. You try pulling that shit in the merchant ward. I just kind of chuckled to myself, that shit ain't gonna fly. Literally. And figured. I don't know. You don't know. The magic shit does some weird, Barag, for all we know, might go flying off into the clouds if he messes with the wrong person.
Oh, just light them all on fire.
That's actually happened before, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well played. Well played. I like that callback. So what are you guys doing?
So I guess we're still continuing on.
You get to the climb hammer.
Okay.
Oh.
So
And it's riotous, and I need everybody to make a perception roll, please.
Oh shit.
17.
What would you roll?
I rolled a 1.
Ah, forget it.
But, yeah.
Forget it.
Yay!
Forget about it.
Just a 1. Just 1.
Brog?
15.
15. Okay. Daedalus?
I had this 3 on top.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a 10 out of my 10.
It's pretty obvious, I would say. Okay. You so the three of you actually see somebody walk out of the clam hammer, wearing a very cheap T-shirt. The T-shirt does say "Prophecy of the Pious" on it, on the front, and it says "World Tour." And inside you hear, "Thank you, everybody. We're Prophecy of the Pirate. If anybody sees our manager, tell them to pick up the tab."
Well, I hear that, right? Like,
Yeah.
despite my roll.
No. It just sounds like garbled mess. It's hard. It's hard to pick up exactly what it is.
Okay.
So we.
All three of you know what exactly it is. Yeah.
Oh.
So I whisper those two. I know who they are. Okay, we push Talvis to the door first.
I say the same thing. I second that notion.
I don't want to pick up the fucking tab, and I turn around and walk away.
Don't separate, you jackass!
So what do you guys do?
With the Three Stooges out
Sure,
here.
you do.
So I'm gonna. Well, why don't we head inside?
You have fun. Bye. You pick up the tab for Barag.
Daedalus, why don't you take Talvis inside? Let me go in and get the big idiot outside.
So as you see them for some reason arguing with each other, you're not really sure why, and then after a couple of minutes, you're like, I like this tune. I think I've heard it before. I have heard it before.
So we're still outside at this point?
Still outside, yeah.
So I think back into him and say, yeah, clerics first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I enthusiastically go through the door and just...
I walk in after him.
Sure.
I'll make my way... When I get through, though, I'm going to find the bar and just make a beeline for the bartender.
Sure. Busy. I mean, it is shoulder to shoulder. It is not like the Ashburn Mooring, the Lorwick Dales. It is nothing like any of those places.
Okay.
It is like a club in D&D. There is a very well-worn dance floor. Sailors from every continent you can imagine, from races you've never seen before, all dancing in ways that are traditional to them. All look weird to you, but you do see a familiar dance, a dance that you and Barag may have started. Oh, so long ago. And that dance has actually been almost like a trademark of that particular bard group. The bard group of orcs called Prophecy of the Pious. And they bard like only an orc can bard. They're there and they've got this megaphone that looks like it's made out of dragon bone, and the lead singer in white makeup with black around his eyes, just screaming, "Yeah, so calls me, yeah."
Oh, so I try to get the bartender's attention. I raise Hearth of Hestia in the air and ignite it just to try to like.
So you hear, "Ah!" and everybody goes nuts.
and does the bartender come over in my direction?
He's just looking at this thing that's on fire.
Yeah. Okay, so I put it out and then I kind of like.
So he goes over.
Wave a gold.
He actually kind of motions over to somebody, and about 10 seconds later, you see a gorgeous half-elf, for lack of a better term, wine wench.
That's a perfect term.
Yeah. She's got very simple clothing. Her curly red hair is kind of hanging in front of her face. Very busy. She's got a couple of empty steins that she's got on a platter, and she's looking at you, and she's like, "Hi."
Hey, well met.
Well met. Yes.
Yes, I'm Talvis, by the way.
Talvis. You're thirsty.
Yes, very. I'll take one for me, and I'll say, and I point up at the stage, one for each of those gentlemen. My friend Barag asked that I send that their way. If you could tell them.
That's the manager that we've been hearing so much about.
Yes, my dwarf friend. So if you could just let them know when you get the chance, their drinks are from Barag. He's in the house somewhere.
I will tell you.
Did I hear him say that?
Make a perception roll.
15 plus a 3, so.
Oh yeah, 18. Yeah.
So once
Yeah. I mean, it's loud, but you're close enough where you can make out
so
the
once
conversation.
I hear him mention Barag's the manager, I snickered.
There you go.
And again, my name's Talvis, and I kind of like open my eyes a little wide and kind of nod at her to emphasize the name, and I like slip her, say like 5 silver.
So her eyes just open wide. She's like, "This is for a whole night of drinking? 5 silver?"
That's just for your discretion and honesty, in case anybody asks about who I am.
Get a table for the evening
Thank you.
with bottle service
That sounds fantastic.
for 5 silver.
Sure.
If that's okay with you.
That sounds great. I've been looking for some place like this.
So she rushes over to a table with 5 orcs sitting there. They look like they've been drinking all day, and she goes, "Lads, get the fuck out of this! Get out of this table right now! I need it!" And she just kind of like grabs them by the ear and pulls them away. And they're like, "Oh, come on, Sal!" She's, "No, I need this table." So she kind of pulls them off, and she's like, "Your coppers are no good here. You need to go. We've got silver." So she kind of shoos them off and quickly kind of gives it a quick rub down from the orc drool that has been accumulating there all day. And she kind of presents the table to you guys. So, here's our best table. Just ale?
Yeah, let's just keep him going for now.
She goes, you'll have to speak up. It's super loud in here.
Well, I cast thaumaturgy and not and just like make it not to like deafen her, but like very loud. We'll just keep him going for now.
So you almost think that you see her hair kind of blow back a little bit as you. She goes, okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. I'll end the spell so that I don't keep talking that way.
Call me Sal.
Thank you, Sal.
So she walks off. So what do you do?
Well, I'm just like looking back at those horses like, geez, not even a day and we're already making friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do see your friends, actually, besides the ones that got kicked off the table, you do see Prophecy of the Pious. And I'm going to see if they recognize you guys yet.
Well, we're still outside.
You're still outside.
Trying to get
but there are two of your group in there. No, they do not. So they're just going to town. They're pulling their orc hearts out on the stage and for everybody to see. This is us. This is us.
So I
This next song I wrote like 3 seconds ago. It's called Dragon Tits. I hope you love it. And he just goes right into Dragon Tits.
So I put down my current drink. I finish off and slam it down, and then I just is there a lot of other people?
Oh yeah, it's packed.
So I just like dive into the crowd.
Sure, make a perception roll. Daedalus too. Yeah, also.
I'm not gonna dive in with them.
No, okay.
22.
Woo!
Natural 20.
Woo! So as you see Talvis about to, he's kind of preparing himself. He's strapping on his armor tight, making sure his coin purse is where it needs to be. The both of you almost simultaneously. You spot somebody who doesn't really look like he belongs in a place called the Climax. Very, very well dressed. An elvish gentleman. Long silver hair. He's got a waistcoat. It looks very Victorian era dress, to put it in real terms. Very Victorian era dress. Looks like he doesn't belong in this particular, not in the port ward. So it strikes you as odd, and so he kind of motions over to you, and a second later, Sal brings over a couple of tall pints. She slams them on the table. Hey, you guys have an admirer? It's from the gentleman in the corner, he says. To your help.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's like, I looked over and was like, he sure sticks out though.
Yeah.
I've never seen him here before.
Well, he's obviously trying to get our attention. So, and I just throw back the pint and look to Daedalus. Well, wanna head over?
Sure. Let's see what he has to say.
Let's see, I feel obligated at this point. I set down the drink and head over in his direction.
Okay. So as you kind of head over, you're kind of bumping your way into the crowd. You can't make a beeline because there's so many people packed in such a small area. So you're kind of like making angles and turns to try to get in that general direction. But eventually you do get there, and he's just kind of sitting and he's sipping his ale. You've seen everybody just kind of guzzle it down, and it's very good, high quality ale. Probably not from the Faerun. Probably from the Dwarven Empire somewhere. But he's sipping it, and he looks towards you, and he nods, and he smiles, and he sees you, says your name's Daedalus, Talvis. It's nice to see you.
Do we recognize him at all now that we're up close on
Make
it?
a perception roll.
14.
16.
Doesn't look familiar to you at all.
So I sit down across from him I think we owe you a thanks for the drinks.
My pleasure.
You seem to know our names.
You've made quite a reputation for yourselves.
Yes, I wasn't sure that in a place like this it would follow us so easily, but it seems that it has.
Well, when you prevent a god from descending to the material plane, that sort of thing kind of sticks with you, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. What's your name?
So he kind of puts his hand out. Rodtail.
Nice to meet you. Rodtail.
So you guys are just visiting the Sword Coast? You're here on business, or?
Well, sort of still waiting to find out. It's our first night here. I think one of my companions has some business. I'm sure there's things that can be found to do in the meantime. We'll see, maybe some work.
So he kind of smiles and he says, "You're here for the first night in Baldur's Gate, and the first place you come to is the Clam Hamlet? Who's giving you advice?"
Well, the very same companion that we're here on business for, but
So he kind of laughs to himself. He's like,
she's
"Yeah,
a sailor.
I get that. I'm here on business too, I guess. A lot of folks from different countries come through here. A lot of adventures. Kind of what I'm looking for."
What is it that you're looking for exactly?
I'm willing to pay a lot of money.
I'm willing to be paid a lot of money.
5,000 gold to be exact.
And I motion over to the wine wench if I can see her or get her attention. Or anybody who looks like they might have a
Yeah. You see her. I mean, you paid 4 silver for the table that you walked away from. She's always keeping you in her periphery.
Yeah, so I just motion and hold up 3 fingers, like 3 more drinks.
Sure. So she kind of acknowledges you and walks off to the bar.
So for that amount of coin, we assume this is no ordinary business.
Business for Valor's ransom, I suppose.
Well, perhaps I should get my other companions in here then to hear.
I was hoping there was more than just 2. I mean,
Yeah, for now.
I heard you all survived, but who knows?
Yeah, well, it was quite the trek just getting from there to here. So.
Yeah. The Church of Hestia is here, within the city.
I thought you meant here. I'm like,
No,
in this place?
Not the Clam Hammer. They wouldn't be caught dead.
Except for
and quite
Talvis.
frankly, I'm very uncomfortable being here myself.
Like, Talvis is gonna break the mold in a couple ways
Yeah.
on the
Oh yeah.
Temple of Hestia.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me see.
Inclusion ceremonies to death metal.
yeah. Just easy, just back and
Sure.
forth, no problem.
Sure.
Well, let me see if I can find them. Not quite sure where they went, but
At your leisure.
sure. And that's what I'll do. I'll head off and see if I see them anywhere.
Sure. What do you guys know?
So, as Barag is frantically trying to walk away, I'm gonna try and pull on his gear.
Okay. Let's make this a contested strength check.
Like jump or something.
You know what? I'll say this.
Because I would have to.
I'll say this. Sleight of hand versus strength check. Versus athletics.
Oh, yes.
Bring it on. I don't think you realize my athletics is +8. It still beats yours.
Not by much.
By much.
Alright, roll. What'd you roll?
19.
19?
Modified 20.
But you rolled a natural 19 plus your mods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, so you're kind of like, you're in the middle of the street, you're like, "Lay off me, Terra," and then she quickly grabs you by the ear and drags you down.
Now you listen to me right now. We're going to change your name. It is just going to be Trek. So if people ask your name is Trek, you're not Barag.
Okay.
And Talvis will look like an idiot. So why don't we drag? Head on in.
Fine.
And stop being a little... I'm trying to watch on the language a little bit, you know.
You can pick up the tab
He's still
then
searching
for
for
the
it.
bard.
Yeah, I decided to stay in and man our table. It's still empty, right?
Are you getting up from the table, that Rodtail? Because you were with Rodtail.
Yeah, and he left, so I was gonna, instead of going after him though, I was gonna go with this.
Okay.
I said, I'm gonna go back and man our table and let someone take it.
So he kind of hefts his drink to you.
I just go like that.
And so there Daedalus Hartwell is, guarding the table. We paid for silver. Get away from this table. That's so true though, when you're at one of those places and you get a table, you don't give that shit up for
Guarding
anything.
against
Right. So Daedalus is there,
He just shows them the iron nails on his tooth.
Yeah.
So I just go like, pull up.
Daedalus lifts his shirt and it says Thug Life on his stomach.
Yeah, just pull up a chair and I sit down.
Alright. Good enough. Alright.
Those iron nails.
Yeah. Alright, so Talvis, you come out and you see the shenanigans out in the street. They seem to have come to some sort of accord and are now going to make their way into the clam hammer.
Okay, so I just kind of catch their attention and wave them in.
Well, Drac, it's time for us to head on in, don't you think?
It is indeed time. Let's go. Time to get our ale on.
I second that notion.
So I head back in and kind of stay just inside, expecting them.
Sure. And you guys meet up. Yeah.
Seems like we may have a business opportunity already.
Business opportunity?
Well, I have business of my own that takes priority.
That's a 5,000 gold opportunity.
Okay, my business can be put aside.
I don't really know any details yet, but that elf gentleman over there seems to be pretty intent on at least giving us an offer. So
Buy
I
me
say
an
we hear
ale
him
and
out.
I'll listen to whatever you pitch I want.
I've got ale service all night already, so
What the hell did you do, man?
I don't really know. I just ended up with a table, and it was.
How much money did you give them?
Talvis is me at San Diego Comic-Con. That's me.
It just kind of happened. I gave people my money. But no, not that much. I mean, nothing compared to this potential windfall that we have placed so gracefully in front of us. 5,000 gold.
You didn't give anybody a gold piece, did you?
No, not a gold piece. I gave Benorium Brazic, that gentleman, whatever his name is, I gave him a gold piece to get himself taken care of.
That is true. We're probably already marked. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Alright, so Terra, it is busy. But for you, it's old hat because you've been to the clam hammer. And you're kind of used to this sort of activity. But you can guess by the crowd, just kind of eyeing it, that, probably a couple of large ships have come into port. And so some of the lads have come in to drink and make merry and get some real food in them.
Make merry.
Ha ha ha. Wow. Alright, so. Oh, nobody can do it like you! I'm not even close. I love it. Oh, you jerk. Alright, so yeah. So it's very busy and very dangerous for a halfling your size. I mean, you kind of really have, but you're very dexterous. So you manage to kind of make your way to the Daedalus table, where Daedalus is keeping people away from the table.
Well, I'll be damned. You're starting to toughen out, huh, Daedalus? And I kind of nudge him.
Well, I just didn't want anyone taking this table.
Did you show them the nails? I would have.
Yeah, I would just flash an occasional eldritch energy. Just go like that.
Pyrotechnics, I like it.
Attaboy.
They immediately walk the other direction.
Sure.
So I'm gonna kind of just like pat his shoulder. That deserves an ale. So I'm gonna
Don't
try
worry,
and like.
We have them all night. All you have to do is raise your hand and they'll send the booze from right our
booze
way.
all night for Valor's ransom? This is not gonna end well.
I start raising my hand up going like this.
There's already drinks there from the first time that she came by and and put them down, and then they're gone. So they're still there. There are drinks already there waiting.
Oh, sweet. So I just pick up like the three. What?
Yeah,
How many is there?
there's 2 there.
Oh, good. I just take both of them.
Sure.
I don't even say.
So there's
there.
Barag. He's got 2 steins, and he's kind of looking up at you, and he's, where do we go?
We're gonna be heading in that direction where the 5,000 gold lay. So let's go. But now you kind of straight back over.
So-
I don't leave him waiting.
Yeah. So as you approach, his table is kind of on an elevated kind of paddock, kind of overlooking the Clamhammer. It's a very private, exclusive table. Usually the captains of ships get that table, unless you've got some coin. But it's usually reserved for somebody of meager importance. I mean, within the port ward, how important can one be? But it's usually reserved for ship captains. But he's there, and he's got drinks on the table, waiting for you guys. So you approach.
So I approach with everybody. Rodtail. This is Terra Highhill.
Hi, Hill.
The very same companion that led us to this fine establishment.
Yes.
Barag.
No, name's Drac.
Barag Trash.
Barag Drac,
No,
yes.
Drac. It's
Barag
just
Drac.
Drac. I'm going back.
I don't
Just
know
Drac
what
now.
he's doing, but that is his
Don't
last
listen
name.
to him. I'm just Drac now. Don't.
His name is Drac. Just trust me, lad. It's really complicated.
I think it's a military thing. You know, they go by the
Sure.
last names.
I'm
but,
not very familiar with dwarven culture, being an elf myself. So.
Same here, but that's the only thing I can imagine. And I believe you've met Daedalus already.
Daedalus Heartland.
Yes. So, we are ears open, ready to consider your offer.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate your time. Full transparency. I am somewhat of a controversial figure here at Baldur's Gate. I keep to myself, really. In a big metropolis like this, who can you really trust? So, rumors start to circulate, and we'll come back to that. But I also own a lot of land. I've got interests vested in many different ventures, money-making ventures. One of them is a mine just south, about 2 days travel. Produces nickel for the most part, some iron, but it's of extraordinarily rare quality. It's tough stuff, stuff that you really only find within the realm of the dwarves. But somehow I hit a really nice couple of veins within this mine. I got the mine for dirt cheap. And it's been producing for me for quite some time. But I started losing people. And then I started getting reports. Now, kobolds are south. That's nothing new. We've always been able to navigate the kobolds with the help of the Flaming Fist mercenary group, but they have become particularly aggressive. Nobody really knows why. They stay away from the mine, but recently they've decided to take up shop there. And the kobolds there are aggressive. They even alienate other kobolds, which is unusual. I don't know if you're familiar with kobolds, but they're a human reptilian sort of race, a humanoid race. Very reptilian, a lot like lizard people, lizard folk, with a bit more of a pronounced snout. Some of them even have wings. Some of them have been rumored to wield magic even. But they've taken to my mind. Now, I will be, again, full transparency. There is something, I believe, in that mine. I don't know what it is. Something is driving these kobolds to do what they do. They are coming up north, stealing from settlements, and bringing it down to the mine. I don't know why. But I need it cleared. I need to produce. Every day that mine is not producing, it is costing me untold amount of money. So 5,000 gold for Valor's ransom is but a mere pittance if I can get people mining it.
What are they stealing from the settlements and taking down?
Gold, jewels, coin, things that you would normally think would have value in a place like Baldur's Gate, but not in a mine.
Very strange.
How much money would you say this mine earns you in a given month, say?
In a month? A lot more than 5,000 gold.
I had a feeling about that. Seems like you have an awful lot at stake here.
I do. And you would not be the first adventurers that I've hired and sent to the mine.
Oh, wonderful. So basically you're saying you said, oh, I'll pay you 5,000 gold. Those people didn't make it back to you.
I've never offered them 5,000 gold. I'm offering you 5,000 gold because you're Valor's ransom. And that's the only reason why.
But did those people ever make it back?
No, they have not. And again, I'm not being deceitful.
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you.
Well, I'm always down for this. And
One other thing. Two other things. Whatever spoils are in that mine, other than the ore, of course, are yours. I do not lay claim to them. So whatever you find in there, you keep it. But there's something else that I feel that I need to show you. And it will have to be outside of the city gates.
Sounds like a good way to get mugged.
That's fair. So he throws down 10 platinum on the table.
Alright, let's head outside, boys.
So I just kind of scoop it into my coin purse.
We'll call that a retainer.
Fair enough. And I'm kind of just gripping my heart the Pestia, just ready to get mugged
Sure.
anyway.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
if we're all in agreement then, should
Hey.
we follow this gentleman?
but first, and I start chugging all the ales before I go.
Yeah, alright.
I
It's-
beckon over to him. I was like, "Hey, tell the barmaid save our table if she can."
Oh my god. It's like I wave the barmaid over.
So you see the red-headed elf, female elf, and she kind of regards you. Yes.
Alright. You see that table over there? The one that you take for Talvis, you know?
For the 4 silver, yes.
Yeah. That
It's
guy.
reserved. You can't have it.
Yeah, I'm within.
Oh, you're together. Okay.
Make sure it stays there, please.
Sure.
And also, can you mention something to the band?
To the band.
Yeah.
They scare me.
Okay.
I don't really want to
Well,
talk to them, and they're a little icky.
Okay, well then have the bartender, the Maypen
They make weird noises. Not just when they're screaming in that megaphone.
Yeah, they're orcs, but I need a message. to
Even
get
for
to them.
orcs.
Make sure they get around on me,
Sure.
and I give her silver,
Okay.
and then I slip her a gold piece as well, and make sure you tell them Barag has quit. Talvis is the new manager.
So she kind of looks at the gold and she's like, "Listen, I'm making a lot of money off you guys. I've made like a week's worth of pay. I'll tell them whatever you want.
Good. Barag
has quit. But Talvis is your new manager?
is their new manager.
Is their new manager?
Yeah, the manager is Talvis. You can make
Gotcha. Okay.
Alright? Good.
Okay.
Alright.
Alright.
And make sure that table stays there first. We'll be back.
Sure.
We got some business to attend to outside the city.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you guys head out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you head out of the climb hammer, and you see a couple of drunken sailors kind of like, lumbering out down the street. It's cooler now. The fog is kind of rolling in from the ocean. The lamps on the streets are slowly being lit with whale oil. So you get a little bit of illumination off of the fog, but not much. Just enough to know where the road is. And so as you guys head out, you do see a horse and carriage. 2 horses. Top-notch horses. Anybody have animal or handling? Terra? You can tell that these are very expensive horses. Just by looking at them. So he does have a lot of money. And the carriage itself looks like the whole thing is hand-carved out of elven wood. So he has a servant there that kind of opens the door for you. And he enters, Rodtail enters the carriage and takes a seat.
I enter in immediately after him.
Sure.
And sit down next to him so as to make easy conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just turn to him as everybody else, I assume, is getting in. Say, you mentioned you were controversial. Whom might consider you controversial?
Oh, the 4 dukes. They've been wanting for me to take a position, some sort of leadership position here in the Sword Coast and the Baldur's Gate, but I refuse. I refuse. I've been here a long time at Baldur's Gate.
Why would you not want a leadership position?
It's not for me.
Well,
There are people who are born to lead. I certainly know myself well enough to know that I'm not one of them. I know how to make money, and that's really about it.
I would hope to not make enemies of these dukes on our first night here. Hopefully, this will not be a case of guilt by association.
No, I've no enemies in the dukes. In fact, I have dinner with them once a week.
Then you may be just the type of person we need to get to know.
Why? Why do you say that?
Well, in a place like this, I think knowing those types of people helps ensure survivability and even may help us prosper.
Are you looking to get into the merchant ward?
I'm looking to get into any place that
Well, if you're
a little...
looking to make serious money,
Yes, I should just get to the point, shouldn't I?
the merchant ward would be where you want to go.
All right. good to know.
However, it's not easy. Some people have to work years to prove themselves,
Just to gain entry.
just to gain entry. It's the most guarded part of Baldur's Gate, thus the most guarded part of the Faerun.
I guess
However,
it's-
if you know somebody,
Sure.
sure.
And don't mistake me, it's not just money, it's just that money and power tend to meet in the same place, and I think I'd like some of both.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. Well, Baldur's Gate is where certainly you can make your fortune in either or both.
Good to know.
It's good to have friends.
And I just reach out and kind of shake his hand and like looking forward to doing business with you kind of look.
Well, don't speak so soon.
So
So he
I feel like I'm saying way too much, way too soon.
he just kind of laughs as he says it. So as you guys head out of Baldur's Gate, the gate is kept closed at night for obvious reasons. I mean, if you go east a few days, you had traveled. I mean, there's a whole section of the Faerun that is just inundated with trolls. So they do have to keep the gate closed at night. But once it's closed, it's almost impossible to penetrate. But they keep it very secure. And Rodtail has the freedom to kind of come and go as he pleases. They see him approach, and you hear the guards outside. Open the gate, lads. It's Rodtail. So they open the gate, and cart goes outside of Baldur's Gate. So as the cart continues on its way, the carriage rather, I know much of Talvis. What brings you three here? I'm very interested in Daedalus' story. I've never seen an elf in quite your condition.
It's a long story.
We've got time.
Well, let's just say we're looking for a half-orc girl when we're venturing through the swamp, and we came across this old hag in this tiny hut, and she said she would give us the whereabouts of this half-orc girl, but I had to join her little cult.
Oh.
And unfortunately, this is a...
And they did that to you.
Yep.
You know who you should speak to would be Danae. She
Yeah.
has experience with these sorts of things.
How do you spell it?
Dennae.
Okay.
And Rodtail says, "Stop asking me how to spell everything."
Sorry, I like to make note of things. My memory isn't the greatest.
Sure, understood. But yeah, she comes from a well-to-do family, also in the merchant ward.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll just thank you for the information. I do hope to get rid of this.
Sure. You know, it's not this that's important. And he kind of points to your heart and he goes, "It's that. That's what's really important."
I just nod my head at him.
And what of you, dwarf? I know you like to drink.
I come to the territory.
You know of the troubles up north.
I've heard.
I'm not a dwarf. I don't pretend to be, but my heart goes out to you.
It's been troubling for many of the weeks for me. I heard from an old soldier of mine. It's been hard to think. I can't go there right now.
So you're a man of war.
Former general.
The Dwarven Kingdom is where you need to be then. If you're looking to make war, that is. If you're looking to make peace, well, that's going to take some doing.
I intend to hopefully make peace. I don't like seeing my fellow brethren at each other's throats.
I wish you all the luck in the world in that, Mr. Drac.
I hope something can come of it, but I don't know how soon I can get there.
Understood. Well, Dwarven conflicts can last centuries. They're known to hold grudges and wage war with one enemy for decades. You've got plenty of time.
I don't think there'll be anything left by that time. I
Well,
hope that grudge that long. Everybody would just be dead.
Well, let's hope not. The Sword Coast, Baldur's Gate would suffer a great deal if that were to happen.
They don't see that. They're blind with war.
And open their eyes.
I hope I can. But until that time,
Sure.
all I can do is be here with my group.
Miss Highhill, I believe I heard of you.
I'm sure you have.
Your reputation precedes you, young miss.
Yes, again, I'm sure you've heard.
Tell me, when she made you walk the plank, what is this magical noise I hear?
Sorry, that noise.
Is that coming from your hearth of Hestia?
Yes.
Quiet that thing down, that
It's
you know
kicking.
we're recording.
And I just I muffle the hearth of Hestia with my bag.
I thought I had this in silent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I muted you.
Alright, so he says, how did you make it back. All reports were that you died in the ocean, floating somewhere.
Why is it any of your concern?
A girl after my own heart. The mystery is the thing, isn't it?
Yes, and quite frankly, I
Do
would
me-
like to.
Do me a favor. Never tell a soul.
I plan on it.
Good. This is good right here, sir. So the carriage comes to a complete stop. And you guys are out kind of like in the middle of nowhere. It's night. It's a thick fog, and he kind of motions you guys to step on out.
I do.
Okay. So he follows you. And he says, there's a reason why I must reveal all truths out here. And I do want to hire you. And I have a suspicion on what may be in the mine. It is not something that I'm comfortable taking on myself, and I feel that if I had been 100% transparent with some of the other groups of adventurers that had gone into that mine, maybe they'd still be alive. So he kind of steps back and he kind of takes off his stovetop hat and he lays it on the ground, and he takes off his gloves and he throws it on the ground, and he takes off his other glove and lays it on the ground, and he says, I make no apology or excuse for what I am, nor should any of you. So then he, as he says that, you see his left or his right arm kind of like explode out. It elongates unnaturally, and it starts turning left and right very violently, almost hard for you to kind of register. It's so fast, and then it sits in the ground, just black scales and claws. And then his other arm does the same thing and right into the ground as his body kind of morphs into a large creature. First you think it's the size of an owlbear, and then his neck becomes more serpentine, and on his back you see something sprouting out of his shoulder blades as he's now down on all fours. You see something that looks like a tail whipping, and it gets larger and larger, and you think, is he ever going to stop growing until he's about the size of a small house? And he's standing in front of you, an ancient black dragon with green eyes, looking at all four of you, Baldur's ransom.
So I pull out the Heart of Hestia, like not swinging on him yet, but I'm ready to go, and I just start backing up.
So he says. You thought I was going to say roll for initiative,
Yeah.
right? No. I don't come here to attack you. I come in peace.
So I just kind of stand where I am. What are there more of you? What is going on? What is this? What is the meaning
Everything
of
I
this?
have told you is true. In the spirit of truth, I reveal my true face to you. No one within the borders of Baldur's Gate knows the truth about Rodtail. I intend to keep it that way.
So I put my weapon down. Okay, well,
Currying favor with an ancient black dragon could be a vast benefit for Vala's ransom. Could it not? And when he says not, you just see teeth the size of sabers. You could feel his breath on your face. You see these noxious green fumes kind of curl up from his snout.
as I'm pondering for a second, I say, well, maybe we can establish some trust with this business deal and see where this can take us.
Indeed. My hope is you kill whatever's in that mine.
You said you have, or may have, an idea of what's down there?
I do.
What might
Old
that
enemy of mine. I believe he's come looking for me. But I'm not sure. It's for you to find out.
be? Enemy of yours.
Just expect more of the same.
Another dragon.
So he kind of looks at you. Yes, another dragon.
Kind of had a feeling when you said those creatures were bringing in treasure. Your folk like the shiny things.
We do. We are vain. We like to be worshipped. I make no apologies. Is it any wonder I'm a man of affluence?
Is this dragon one of your kind? A black dragon?
He's not one of my kind. I'm the last of my kind because of him. You may not know this about dragons, boy. But we don't like each other. None of us do. We are fiercely territorial. And the Sword Coast is mine.
So this enemy of yours has staked a claim in your own
Indeed.
backyard, as it were.
Indeed. And I will not put myself at risk. Unless I absolutely have to. So I work through agents.
Is 5,000 gold enough to insert ourselves into a war between dragons?
I say so. It'll pass the time anyways.
And I kind of lean in. I'm not really trying to hide what I'm saying, but
Sure.
I kind of lean into the group, and I think this may pay off more down the road.
Shit. And we can have a notch on our belt. We killed a fucking dragon.
And that.
Indeed. So, all is ransom. Do we have an accord?
I'm gonna slam Kanger rising into the ground. Fuck yeah, we do.
That dwarf.
It appears so.
Very good. So he kind of smiles, and again you just see a glint of saber-like teeth as he smiles. His lips curl back in almost like a Joker-like fashion. And then, in an instant, he's the man, the elf that you met in the bar. And he picks up his top hat, and he dusts it off, and picks up his gloves, and slowly puts them on. I'm so happy to have met you, my friends. So, come by my place. You can come to the market ward, the merchant ward. One time, of course, with me escorting you. Buy whatever provisions that you need. You can advance a certain amount, half, toward your purchases that we'll be taking out upon payment. I'm sure you'll be successful. It is my hope, at least.
Ours as well.
I think it's money well spent when I invest in Valor's ransom. And you have one favor that I will grant you. And if I can, I will see it done. Whenever you wish, upon our mutual agreements. Agreed?
Agreed.
Alright.
Whatever spoils that you find in there are yours to keep. But nothing can survive in that mine. Nothing. Do I have your word?
Hi, you have our word.
Very good.
Nothing can survive.
And that's what we'll pick up next time. Well done, guys! And
All
nothing
right.
can survive.
Yes, I was like, ooh. I'm like, I've just got this like.
He doesn't mean you guys.
Yeah, well, right. I didn't necessarily think that, but I'm like, oh, promise of wealth and prosperity, and he's like, but you have to kill fucking everything.
Basically, we're doing the almighty purge.
Exactly. Well played, sir. Well played.
So he advances us. So a
He's
platinum.
he's gonna advance you 2,500 gold to
Okay.
buy whatever it is you need within the merchant.
Okay.
The merchant.
And how much gold is a platinum worth again?
1 platinum is worth 10. That will be part of the 2,500.
Okay, so it'd be 250 platinum, in other words, if you were to put it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but take that. What was it? 10 platinum that he gave you?
Yes.
Yeah, that was like a.
Take
part
that
of-
10. Yeah, that was part of that 2,500. So.
I have
I think it was 10. It was 10.
It was 10.
It was 10.
It was 10. I
It
jotted
was
it
10.
down
I
here.
don't know why I thought it was 12.
I have a generator app for coins and stuff for D&D.
Yeah. Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how I keep track of everything. Like,
It's-
that's why when I looked at it, I was like,
The conversion rate, like playing D&D is like going to Canada. Like, how much is this worth?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's
So.
gonna be bad.
So, all right, guys, we're gonna pick up next week. You guys are gonna go into the Kobold Mines.
Like,
Who knows what you'll find in there?
We have to kill it, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
I was like, oh no.
whatever it is, Chimera Rising wants a piece of it.
Yeah, you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ready. At 2,500
we can say
gold.
we're ready, but
You know what?
really,
I have confidence in Valor's Rising. Valor's Ransom, rather. Valor's Rising.
Wherever Valor's Rising is, he's
Yeah.
got confidence in that.
Look at the smile, though. I don't trust that smile.
Guys.
Look at it.
Listen, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a cakewalk. You gotta bring your A game. You gotta play smart.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give it to you. Guys,
make it as difficult as we can.
read your player's handbook. High risk, high reward.
Studying time.
Read
Man,
your.
5,000 gold.
You guys made level 9, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, read your handbooks, guys.
Saving throws.
So important. Daedalus. All right, guys.
You gotta make full use of everything.
Absolutely.
That's
I mean,
the
you got to
thing.
throw especially with high stakes like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to come correct.
I
So
utilize everything that I can that my character has. I use.
yeah, as well you should. Yes, as well you should.
You have to.
Yeah.
There's no other way about it.
All right, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. We do apologize that this particular episode came late. Like I said, some of us were sick, and some of us have awesome immune systems. I'm not gonna point any fingers at anybody, but ooh, a little venom in that. Quite the acid tongue
I've had to
from
take
Terra
care-
High Hill.
I've had to take care of you.
Okay,
before.
sure. All right, so yeah, just play D&D, love each other, and be awesome. See you next week.
Yay.